A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 174. In the previous episode, Han Li and his senior martial brother Lu Luo arrived near Soaring Heavens City, where they encountered the powerful Marquis Nanlong, an eccentric and arrogant mid-nascent soul cultivator. What began as a polite introduction soon turned into tension when Marquis Nanlong suddenly proposed a forced trade, demanding to exchange his own concubines for Han Li's companion, Peiling. Despite Lu Luo's concern, Han Li remained calm. Rather than backing down, he agreed to settle the matter through a contest of spiritual sense, a dangerous duel where cultivators pit their divine consciousness against each other. Han Li accepted, not out of pride, but to uncover the Marquis's true motive for provoking him. As the two cultivators rose into the sky, spiritual power gathered between them, and the air grew heavy with pressure. Marquis Nanlong hinted that Han Li's unusually strong spiritual sense had already drawn his attention. And the story continues. Fellow Taoist speaks the truth. But I have no intention of handing over my concubine. I merely wish to exchange a few pointers. Han Li's voice remained calm and composed. But the moment he released his spiritual sense, an astonishing aura surged outward, shooting toward Marquis Nanlong. The atmosphere instantly became tense as the Marquis, unfazed, released his own spiritual sense. Two streaks of nearly incorporeal force collided violently in the space between them, sending a sudden gust of wind rippling outward in all directions. Marquis Nanlong's initial probe of spiritual sense, which had been simple and precise, suddenly expanded several times its original size. Streams of violent white energy erupted and filled the gap between the two, blurring their silhouettes into what looked like two originless, unmoving shadows. Onlookers were shocked. Lu Luo could not hide his astonishment and cried out, "Spiritual sense formation! How can this be? How is junior martial brother Han's spiritual sense so strong?" Peiling's heart lifted slightly when she heard Lu Luo's explanation. Lu Luo continued, "Spiritual sense formation is a divine technique typically mastered only by mid-nascent soul cultivators. For junior martial brother Han to wield it, his main cultivation must focus on spiritual sense. That's the only plausible explanation." The words, initially full of excitement, trailed into a thoughtful murmur. Filled with hope, Peiling said, "In that case, my lord must have a fighting chance." But Lu Luo's expression shifted, his tone sobering as he added, "It's difficult to say. Even cultivators of the same rank differ in strength. Marquis Nanlong reached mid-nascent soul 300 years ago. Though his progress has stalled, he is still just a step from late nascent soul. Defeating him would be extremely difficult." Peiling's brief hope evaporated immediately, replaced by a cold sense of worry. Meanwhile, the battle between Han Li and the Marquis intensified. The skies erupted into explosions of white energy as winds twisted and swirled, forming a massive ring around them. Lu Luo gasped, "I can't believe it. Junior martial brother isn't losing." The windstorm escalated rapidly, sending blinding white lights across the battlefield, and thunder rolled as the ring ruptured, sweeping violently across the surroundings. 100 meters away, the others watched in shock as the squalls raced toward them. Lu Luo quickly blurred his figure in front of Peiling, crossing his hands to summon a blue light barrier. The fierce wind struck immediately, creaking and pressing hard against the barrier, leaving a deep indentation before scattering past. The barrier quickly restored itself. Marquis Nanlong's soldiers formed a golden light barrier around their carriage, raising halberds in perfect unison. But the gusts shattered their barrier in an instant. Remaining winds tore through, causing the soldiers to clutch their heads in agony as blood poured from every opening. The scene was horrifying, but the two concubines remained unharmed, protected by the carriage's restrictions. Though their faces were pale with fear, Peiling's blood ran cold witnessing this, and she turned her gaze anxiously toward Han Li, mesmerized by his power. Then, Marquis Nanlong activated a ball of golden light, which spread across his soldiers, stabilizing them. Pain and screams ceased instantly, leaving them shaken but unharmed. The Marquis's eyes returned to Han Li, now filled with a mix of disbelief and respect. He realized that Han Li's spiritual sense might rival or even surpass his own. Contempt gave way to apprehension, and he hesitated to treat Han Li lightly. Han Li smiled casually and said, "Shall we stop the contest? I fear I might not last if this continues." Marquis Nanlong considered for a moment, then laughed, his expression relaxing. "Fellow Taoist Han is far too modest. Your techniques and your spiritual sense are not inferior to mine. Let us drop the contest before injuries occur." Internally, Han Li sighed despite his outward calm. While he had not wanted to truly fight the Marquis, he now recognized that he could at least match him. The struggle had altered the Marquis's perception, and he now held Han Li in genuine regard. With a slight smile, the Marquis sent Han Li a private transmission, explaining the true purpose of the contest. It had not been to test his strength alone, but to evaluate his spiritual sense for a matter of importance. The Marquis produced a jade slip and tossed it to Han Li, signaling the location of a gathering on the 4th day of the trade meet, where they would discuss a plan beneficial to all parties. Han Li received it, examined the Marquis briefly, and then stored the jade slip carefully. Marquis Nanlong, with a chuckle, ascended toward his carriage in a sphere of golden light and departed for Soaring Heavens City with his escort. Leaving Lu Luo to smile wryly at his eccentricity, Han Li returned to Elder Lu and Mu Peiling. "My lord, are you all right?" Mu Peiling asked, her face flushed as she stared at him with bright, relieved eyes. Han Li's calm response: "It was nothing, merely a bit of effort," contrasted with the visible impact his display of power had made on her. She felt safer, more secure, and quietly appreciative of his presence. Lu Luo looked at Han Li for a long moment, admiration shining on his face. "Junior Marshal brother, you keep your secrets well. You made me worry for nothing." Han Li replied calmly, "I never meant to conceal anything from my 2 senior marshal brothers, it's just that you never asked. But let's hurry, those spiritual sense gales will certainly draw attention." Lu Luo instantly agreed. "That's right, it would be troublesome if this were widely spread. Let's quickly head to Soaring Skies City." And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw Han Li display his incredible mastery of spiritual sense, a power usually reserved for mid-nascent soul cultivators. His calm and composed demeanor masked the overwhelming force he unleashed, as he effortlessly engaged Marquis Nanlong in a contest that tested the limits of their spiritual senses. Despite the Marquis's centuries of cultivation and formidable reputation, Han Li was able to match him blow for blow, proving that his strength, skill, and insight were far beyond ordinary. The battle also highlighted Han Li's strategic thinking. He did not seek unnecessary confrontation, yet he ensured the safety of those around him and gained critical information that will guide him in future challenges. Throughout this episode, we also witnessed the reactions of Lu Luo and Mu Peiling. Lu Luo's admiration and relief, and Mu Peiling's growing sense of security and trust, reminded us just how much Han Li's abilities inspire those close to him. Their perspectives gave us a window into the gravity of Han Li's display of power, showing that it was not just a contest of strength, but a demonstration of precision, intelligence, and restraint. This episode perfectly illustrates that true cultivation is about more than raw force, it's about control, strategy, and knowing when to act. If you enjoyed this episode or found it exciting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications for the latest episodes of Han Li's journey. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode as the adventure continues.